How's it going, everybody? So here we go, the last hero for this year. Zhanhu has been revealed last week already, meaning some of you probably already seen quite a bit of him. But first of all, a huge thanks to Ubisoft for giving me early access to the new characters so I was able to record and test all this. Having said that, let me give you the usual disclaimer. This is an early access version, so there's a chance that some things are in this client that won't make it or are different on the live version that we got this upcoming Thursday. Please keep that in mind before you overreact to anything. And also a huge shout out to Lord Dem, who has helped me with a lot of the testing and fought me many hours over the last couple of days. But let's get to what you guys are actually here for. We're starting with the frame checks and then dive more into some of the specifics, including mix-ups and his feats. Many people will be happy to hear that there's no hyper armor, there aren't any bashes, and even his lights are 500 milliseconds for the openers and 600 milliseconds for the finishes. But as everyone probably already knows, and many lost their shit over, all his finishes are unblockable, including the lights. His heavies clock in at 800 milliseconds for the openers and 900 milliseconds for the finishes. The zone is 600 milliseconds and has the undodgeable property. It's literally a 360-degree attack, and we'll look into that more when we get to how easy it is to hit someone externally. The running attack is 700 milliseconds, nothing special from what I could tell. You can continue your chain after it. Now for the interesting attacks, the dodge attacks. The forward dash heavy is 700 milliseconds. And the light is 400 milliseconds. And so are the side dodge attacks. Both the heavy and the light are 400 milliseconds. The difference between those two is that they come from different sides. Both count as a light parry, and the heavy can lead into an execution. If blocked, they stop your chain. One specific thing here is the time when into the dodge those attacks can happen. The side dodge ones seem to have a fixed timing. They always happen 400 milliseconds into the dodge. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't delay them any further. But this doesn't mean that the attack itself can't be delayed. Here's some examples of fights, and I measured a couple of delayed dodge attacks. Getting these down consistently will probably require some practice. The forward dodge ones, on the other hand, have variable timing. The earliest is 200 milliseconds into the dodge, and the latest is 500. What you might have noticed with all the dodging right now is that his guard changes depending on the dodge direction, and the sword also lights up, indicating a superior block. The timing for all this is exactly like a deflect. The guard changes 100 milliseconds into the dodge, and the superior block starts at the very moment as well. The superior block lasts for 400 milliseconds, but as you know with side deflects already, they will get partially overwritten by dodge iframes. Now for the recoveries, or rather the recovery cancels first. All openers can also be chained into either a dodge, and thus a dodge attack obviously, or a zone, and both of these will let you chain into the other once again. So you're not limited to just 2 attacks per chain, but you can mix and match it up. This might not seem like much to you now, but once you play him, you will notice that limiting yourself to just the normal attacks will make you extremely predictable. So the important recoveries are the finishes then. The lights have 700 milliseconds for guard breaks, 500 milliseconds for guard change, which is really quick actually, and then 700 milliseconds again for dodging. This seems about average. If you dodge a finisher light early enough, you can guard break it. But here's a little fun side fact. You cannot dodge the unblockable lights willy-nilly. You need to know how to. The safest way is to dodge into them. But if you dodge into the other direction, then what might happen is that you get caught by the latent hitbox of the attack. But not necessarily, there are actually different dodge timings. If you dodged early, meaning at the timing that would net you a guard break, then the attack catches you. But if you dodge a little bit delayed, then you can escape it just fine, but you won't be able to guard break the recovery. This is an issue that they apparently fixed for Hitokiri's kick. We'll look into that in tomorrow's video, but it's debatable whether this can even be considered an issue. You should know how to avoid specific attacks. Just randomly doing things shouldn't be rewarded. So I personally don't think this needs adjustments. Just acquire the matchup knowledge and you're fine. The recovery of the light on hit is pretty much identical to a whiff. They are timed slightly differently, but functionality wise they should be the same. So what about the heavy finishes and their recovery then? These look somewhat grim actually, and you will want to think twice about throwing these out a lot. We're looking at 900 milliseconds for counter guard break in here, which means these can be dodged and punished by a guard break on reaction. And then we have 700 milliseconds for guard change and 900 milliseconds again for the dodge. On hit, these recoveries go down a bit, 800, 600 and 800 again. So it's not as bad if you manage to land one in a team fight, but calling them safe would be an overstatement. So how do you deal with these unblockable finishes then? I'm sure many of you are waiting for the one timing back dodge or something else. So let's just look at the parry window for now. Most of you can tell already that these windows do not overlap. There is no single timing at which you can parry to catch both light and heavy. So don't even try and find one, because it doesn't exist. What about an early dodge on orange then? And I can happily tell you that this won't work either. There is no single dodge timing which will let you escape light, heavy and a feint to guard break. Depending on the side of the attack, you can early dodge and avoid light and heavy, but only right side attacks. The other ones will track you and the guard break as well. What about dodging? What about this deflect or superior block bash or whatever it's called? First of all, the bash itself doesn't guarantee anything. It simply stuns and allows for a mix-up. The superior block itself allows for a dodge attack on attacks that have a high enough block recovery. Rule of thumb here is that you can dodge attack against heavies, not against light. But what I actually want to show here is that you also need to deal with the mix-up after the stun. There is no one single answer that gets you out of it. Buffer dodges will get caught by heavies, late dodges will get caught by lights, dodging in general will get caught by a zone. So learn the animations, learn to deal with the stun, or just whinge on Reddit and other forums again. It's really up to you. Self-improvement or whining. Your choice. Speaking of which, you will want to know a little bit more about the punishes. I will obviously make a separate video, but for now just remember the following. Use side throw for 2 heavies, forward throw or parry is zone into heavy. But why I mention this is the fact that all of these are unsafe under certain conditions. As long as your opponent remains out of stamina, you're good. But if they get their stamina back on wake up, then you will eat a guard break. Lots of people will mess up their punishes at the beginning, so go ahead and punish them for that. Another weird thing are his throws. They are a little deceptive. I'm standing exactly in the center of the map, well, more or less at least. Especially on the back throw, you see a massive displacement of my character. It looks like an insanely far throw distance, but it really isn't, so don't be fooled by that. Moving on to his feats, they're all based around fire and either have special interaction with fire or cause someone to burn. The tier 1 is basically a 10 damage kunai, it does an additional 15 damage if the target is burning. The tier 2 is a little special as it is a mix between a trap and a bomb. You can either manually aim for an area or use the auto targeting while locked on. The aim assistant works surprisingly well, it does both damage and sets the target on fire. The tier 3 is a passive feat that increases all your damage, both attacks as well as feats, by 40%. I think this one is the most debatable whether it's worth running it. It's a tier 3 feat, so it's unlocked a bit late, and how often do you get to capitalize on it? Your other option for this tier is longbow. I honestly have no idea why they didn't give him firebow. It would just make sense, but maybe a combination of 2 projectile feats would be a bit too powerful. I don't know. And the tier 4 is like an orbital strike. You cannot manually aim it, instead it targets all enemy players in range. Each opponent gets its own projectile. To highlight the auto-aiming properties of this feat, look at this. You basically have an additional radar with this feat, as it only pops up for use if someone's nearby. Last thing we're looking into is his ability to hit targets you're not locked onto. Shouldn't come as a surprise that the zone hits everything around him, but for the other attacks, you're not so lucky. The heavy openers seem decent, but the finisher as well as the opener lights, which are basically stabs, don't work so well. The finisher lights have a lingering hitbox at the end of the animation, but that mostly comes into play when whiffing said attack. He will have trouble to hit people around him, he's no Zhanhu or Kensei in that regard. And that's it for the new character. I had a great time with him and I'm really looking forward to playing him again. We're going to finish this video with a match against Lord Dem. I don't think I need to really introduce the man, but links to his content can be found in the video description. And I have more duels against him, which will release soon. This match here is from day 1 of early access, so we were still figuring stuff out and learning how to play him. So it's a little bit more along what you guys will see when you first play him. And obviously also a huge thanks to everyone who got early access and was sharing their findings and opinions. It's always extremely helpful to have additional input from someone else. And having said that, I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.
Ah, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I could have. Victory. Option select toxic, yeah. I'm option selecting so much with that guy. I mean, it's all these unparryables. It's just you need to parry so much and you need to mix it up a little.
Round 5. Victory! Round 6. Defeat. Round 7. Defeat.
Ah! Good move. Thank God I did a side one and not a top one. That try was nothing. See that? That has no hitbox whatsoever. Jesus.
Round 9.
Wait, Clutch said something. Which side was it then? You remember? Was it left or right side? The one with better tracking. Ah, you don't remember, yeah. I guess. You should dodge that. No, don't screw with me then. For fuck's sake. Nah, well done, well done. Yeah, it was good, it was good.